Grandma's home! Hey everybody, so I've got early test access for Maru, so I'll have a quick showcase of all of her kit, as well as some of the weapon options that she'll have available, like the new light grenade launcher that's going to be coming out, as well as the new heavy grenade launcher that they have equipped onto her. Let's see if Maru, after coming out of retirement, can make splash in Destiny Rising. So, starting out with her kit, we have the relic abilities that she has access to. Her passive is Collapse, and it states that dealing or absorbing damage with abilities provides resonance with it, enhancing all of Maru's abilities. Losing health or shield will result in the loss of resonance, and the higher Maru's resonance is, the more she will lose. Now, notably, this doesn't include Overshield, and this is important for other parts of her kit. So, her first signature ability is Annihilation Blast, and it states that she will fire a cannonball that flies up to 40 meters and explodes upon collision or reaching its max range, dealing 4,000 damage at max level to targets within a 6-meter radius, inflicting knockback, and Maru will also be subject to knockback if she's within the blast range. Resonance also significantly increases the damage up to 100% multiplier when it's full, and when you're above 50% resonance, it'll cause the explosions to shoot out 3 cluster bombs, dealing 1,600 damage each within a 4-meter radius. Her second signature ability, called Abyss Engulf, will create a vortex barrier in front of her that will suck up all of the bullets, converting the damage into overshield at 400% efficiency at its maximum level, and this will be really good, and I will showcase just how good it is later. You pretty much won't have to build any overshield gain bonuses whatsoever. So this grandma is going to be a little bit thicker. Resonance will affect the duration of the overshield in real time. Duration starts at 4 seconds and reaches 8 seconds when resonance is full. And when resonance is at 50% or higher, the vortex barrier gains a larger range while also providing protection on either side of Maru. And this ability can even be used when it's not fully charged and will recharge continuously, consuming charge over time when activated, consuming additional energy when it's attacked. And combatants that come into contact with the vortex barrier will continuously take damage, but it doesn't say how much it is. I don't imagine it's very much. And her super ability, called Blight Volley, it states that she'll enter her super, and then she'll be able to shoot a barrage of energy projectiles from the collapsing cannon. The projectiles explode upon collision or after traveling a maximum distance of 30 meters, dealing 1,480 void damage to targets within a 3-meter radius. Resonance also affects the density, stability, and damage of the energy projectiles in real time, with damage increasing by up to 60% when resonance is full, and once resonance is at 50% or higher, the energy projectiles fired by Maru's super can travel up to 45 meters and gain the ability to track combatants within certain angular range upon launch. While in her super state, Maru's walk speed is increased by 50%, but sprinting is disabled, and she gains damage resistance. Don't know how much though. As we can see right here, keeping your resonance up at its absolute maximum is going to be a very important thing for Maru's kit all around. Beyond that, we have her weapon mastery, which is also going to be tied to her resonance, and states that when resonance is at 50% or higher, light and heavy grenade launcher shots will produce 3 void element split shells, each dealing 222 void damage to combatants within a 4-meter radius, and this scales with the Annihilation Blast level. Now, I will say that this does seem a little bit small for a weapon mastery scaling for the ability damage for it. Numbers can be changed. The damage will double at max level, and the level 4 states split shells damage increases by 8% each time they hit the same target consecutively within 1.5 seconds, increasing up to 24%. And I believe this would be a multiplicative increase as well. It would be pretty good all around. Next up, we have her first trait, and it states that the barrier generated by Abyss Engulf will recharge Annihilation Blast when it absorbs damage. So that'll give you some extra ability recharge rate right there. Then you have Harmonic Transition. Using Abyss Engulfs doesn't interrupt reloading. Reloading is still possible while the barrier is active. You can shoot and then immediately put up the barrier to maybe quickly protect yourselves from some damage. And finally, we have Relic Trait 3, Final Wish. It states defeating targets with Blight Volley refunds up to 100% super energy, depending on the target. Base combatants 10, elite combatants 20, and powerful or stronger combatants 30. So that means you can use her super for some extra mobbing, though I'm not really sure exactly how good it would be compared to saving the super for some higher value targets. And when it comes to her weapons, she obviously has the new exotic Vergar's drill, as well as a new mythic GL called the Surinobuse. I don't know how to pronounce this, I'm gonna be honest. But it's going to be the Synesthesia origin trait, which is going to be very good because this is really good for the GLs with the perk upgrade right here especially. And it's going to be a rapid fire frame, and the trait setup it has is Fraternity plus Polyploidy, which is going to be really good right here. As you can see, I've got an exotic mod equipped on it. I got really lucky with this one. They didn't give this to me, I got it myself. So if you are a GL, and by GL I mean Grandma Lover, Maru might be the character for you because she doubles up on this weapon type. Now, without further ado, I'm going to get into a gameplay segment, and in this test server we have a Blast Void Legendary campaign, and I feel like that's going to be one of the best ways to showcase her. So starting out, you're obviously going to want to get the Resonance maxed out, but you will see that you can't really block melee attacks with it. So you're either going to have to use your weapons or your abilities against the thralls, but when the wizards start shooting at me, instead of throwing their fart bombs, I can put up my shield, and you can see that goes straight up to the moon. When we're talking about the overshield gain, and we can see right here, she's going to deal a pretty big amount of damage with her ability. And you can see right here, I can start blocking stuff, and that's going to immediately give me a bunch of energy to then start attacking the knight some more. And I can do that again. Of course, it's going to be a lot better if there are more enemies attacking at you or more damage being dealt to you. But that is a way to not only help protect yourself, but also to get more ability regeneration. And this will be particularly effective against enemies like ogres, who are going to be dealing a lot of damage with their eye laser. But right here in this traversal section, you will start to see that one of the shortcomings of Maru, and that's because since she is old, her legs aren't exactly how they used to be, meaning that she doesn't have any movement skills whatsoever. Now, you can use the ability to boost you with some knockback, but that's not really going to do much for you at all. But you can see right here, this big group of enemies just absolutely juices my ability recharge. So I can use that to get my abilities charged back up and to take out the enemies around here. And I've been showcasing the light grenade launcher a bit because it does kind of spam out her weapon mastery a lot better, because she's not a weapon damage unit. She doesn't have any weapon damage scaling whatsoever. But right here, I can show all the enemies grouped up, and I can just hit them with the ability, and I can, once the ogres go through with all of their rage, I can show this just eating that all up, and then you can just shoot it out. You can also shoot the ability while you have the barrier active. I don't think that was listed in the overview, but another thing I can show right here in this traversal section, because I have time, is that yes, you will continue to reload while you have it active, which can be pretty nice for something that takes a bit longer to reload, like a heavy GL, but you will largely want to be using your abilities first and foremost, since that's where pretty much all of your damage comes from. But we can see right here, you just have all those enemies lined up, and I can keep this up, get myself some overshield, and you can see it just gave me a ton. And right here we can see another potential shortcoming of her weapon mastery, and it's that the cluster bombs fall down onto the ground, and if they fall outside of the range of the enemy, then that means your weapon mastery won't be dealing any damage at all to them. So you can see right there, It's just not doing anything to the wizard because it's all the way up in the air. So in a particular strike like the pit, this weapon mastery will just be doing nothing at all. But of course, most of her damage does come from her ability path regardless. But also, if you don't have any enemies to attack you, you won't be getting any of the extra regen that you would be able to normally. But you can see right here, I can just get my overshield up, and now I've got my ability up as well. And I can also then just launch a super, and it's just gonna shred through her, and I can also use that to attack thralls as well. But I can get my stuff charged, and I can just keep the shield up, get it charged again, and of course I can then shoot out with the weapons. So she does have certain things that you can play around. So if there's an enemy that is about to shoot a big salvo of stuff, you can put the shield up and then just start blasting with your ability right here. But the weapons are obviously going to be a more consistent part of her kit. That really about does it for the gameplay section of her. When it comes to the entirety of Maru's build, Light Link Companions, Gwyn is going to be the best one for her, because it's going to be the highest damage multiplier for the Void. But of course, Ikora is not going to be far behind, so you can run both Gwyn and Ikora. Rossi's going to definitely be overkill. Like I said, you get so much overshield, and that's with just the level 17. That's like almost no bonuses whatsoever. I don't even think the artifacts they gave me have... Yeah, these don't even have overshield bonus either. She just gets that much overshield, so Rossi's definitely going to be overkill when it comes to a Light Link Companion. She doesn't really have anything else in her kit that screams any of the other Light Link Companions either. She doesn't have a notable debuff or buff applied to her, so Atal and Umeko likely won't even be considered, and like I said, she already has more than enough overshield from here, so it's really just Gwyn and Ikora as the only options, especially because that's the only damage increases that she'll be able to get because she is an ability damage unit. When it comes to artifacts, now the artifacts that they've given to me here, these aren't final, so I can't really say any of the effects, especially because they aren't even really listed. But I will say, since she is an ability damage unit, she will primarily benefit from artifacts that will increase her signature ability damage as well as her super damage. So general damage increases are going to be really strong on her. But there is something that we have to mention with that, and it's that she doesn't have a movement ability, and she also can't use summons either. So it's not going to be like Ningfei, where she has a really, really good combo active. She does have very easy access to overshields, so she can run a lot of the overshield artifacts that are in the game, and I imagine some of the stuff here is probably going to help her a bit more. Obviously, we will be able to figure out the best options for her artifact-wise when she releases. If I had to make any assumptions on what would be good for her based on her kit, she's not really going to need a lot of like regen or healing artifacts at all, because she can kind of just put up the shield and get a billion overshield per second while also deleting all of the damage from existence. So with that, stuff like the damage resistance combo will probably be a bit better for her to keep up as much overshield as possible, or increasing her total health bar and shield by using something like Inverted Guard. Inverted Guard for more total health, but you can use something like Unrelenting Shell, which will actually combo with Unrelenting Evolution for a lot of damage resistance on Maru. For her second artifact, obviously Unrelenting Evolution is going to be a great option for her when combined with Unrelenting Shell. Aside from that, I'm not really sure what the best options for her would be in the second slot. Obviously, the new one could be really, really good for her, but we'll have to wait and see what the final effect for that will be. And something else to mention is because she doesn't utilize any sort of self-healing, she can make good use of the Chiaroscuro as well. So if you like that more than the Unrelenting combo, or if there's a much better slot 2 artifact that either gets released or that I'm not thinking of right now, that would be another great option for her. Now, when it comes to the offense artifacts, like I said, anything that gives high general damage increases or high ability damage increases will be amazing on her. The best option that I know of from the artifacts that we have right now will probably be Ring of Courage, just because that's going to be one of the easiest damage increases that you can have on her. And she can actually make pretty good use of the Ring of Reflection, because she can get really, really high overshield uptime, especially keeping that maximum overshield, because whenever you take damage, you can kind of just like reactivate it again, because if you're taking damage, that means you're getting shot, and if you're getting shot, that means you could put up the shield and just suck everything up. She's really good at sucking. But obviously, because she has the really good damage nuke on her signature skill, anything that does buff signature abilities will probably help her out, except for the fact that there aren't really a lot of signature ability buffs that she can make use of. Because there's one, which is pretty good on Gwyn, that requires you to stack up a lot of weapon hits, and there's another which requires you to use a movement ability. She can make good use of Vigilant Planetesimal though. Of course, that's only a 50% increase. I imagine that the general damage increases might work out a bit better, because that's buffing your weapon and your super as well as your signatures. We'll of course have to see everything. I don't have access to the practice range right now because we don't have packs in this test server. Don't mind the pack name. And her downs are going to be pretty strong. And by pretty strong, I mean very strong. So starting out, we have Shock, Impact, Annihilation's Blast's max number of charges. It increases to 2. So this means for when I was showing you can just eat up all that damage and then just shoot it out. This will give you even more nukes. Also allows you to kind of be a bit less spamming off cooldown when it comes to Annihilation Blast. So it's going to be really good all around. But number 2 makes it so that direct hits with light or heavy grenade launchers recharge Abyss Engulf, which is her shield, and it will provide 5% per hit on a light grenade launcher hit and 10% per hit on the heavy grenade launcher hit. And this is also going to combo really well with the Vergar's Drill, the exotic light GL. Its trade allows it to hit multiple times on a direct impact. Obviously, I can't test that interaction out right here, but on paper, it looks really, really strong. Maybe a little bit too strong. And for her talent 3, it's going to be when resonance is at 50% or higher, the number of smaller impact shells ejected from Annihilation Blast, which is her ability, not her weapon mastery, increases to 6, up from 3. So this is going to be a pretty marginal increase to damage. It's not going to do a ton, but it is a damage increase. Blight Feast makes it so that Blight Volley's damage can now be increased to 100% when resonance is full, and that's up from 40% from before, so that's almost doubling the damage increase from resonance for her super. So another straight damage increase, and the same thing with Shock Impacts right here. Impact rounds shot by Annihilation Blast deal 20% increased base damage. This is basically just going to make it so that she's shooting a Nova Bomb with her ability cast. It was already really close to the Nova Bomb damage, but like this is basically half of a Nova Bomb regardless, and if you got both charges, that's basically a Nova Bomb every 40 seconds or whenever you just suck up all that damage and get the ability. Finally, we have the Ultimate Resonance, and it states the efficiency at which Abyss Engulf absorbs damage to provide overshield and recharges Annihilation Blast is increased by 35% when resonance is full. So this is going to give you even more ability recharge. It will also help with the overshield a bit more, though the overshield that's already kind of overkill. If anything, you're doing this for the ability charge so that you can spam it out even more. So that really about does it for all the stuff in her kit. Obviously, we will have to wait and see if this is going to be in a Stella 2.0 situation where the character releases, it doesn't have any mobility and therefore kind of gets gapped by other units who can move faster in the next endgame and may also be able to provide blast damage.
Don't worry, I've got this.
Not naming any names. But something to note is that this is going to be the first Calamity Ops where we won't have any rapid fire active. So we will have to see if Ningfei will be able to keep up without the Mahamiri being able to delete half of the Shinkas in the strike. Though, of course, we will have to see, and Maru will obviously benefit a lot from having these speed increases provided by Hellhest. So that is just something that we'll have to work out later. She is definitely a very interesting character. It's nice to see some guild representation in these games. I was kind of hoping that she would be a weapon damage multiplier unit, but she definitely doesn't seem terrible to me. Of course, I'll have to do some more testing in some real gameplay scenarios once I get my hands on her this Thursday, so definitely stay tuned for that. But with that all out of the way, this concludes our early overview of Maru and kind of what she's going to be like in the future. So if you enjoyed this and would like to see more Destiny Rising content in the future, make sure that the servers don't EOS. You all need to wail on Maru. So if you're enjoying my coverage of Destiny Rising and would like to see more of the future, be sure to stay tuned for more videos, especially regarding stuff coming in Season 2. I would like to hear all of your thoughts about Granny right here in the comments down below. Whether you think she's going to be good or bad or somewhere in between. Personally, I feel like she's pretty bad, if you know what I mean. But with that all out of the way, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.